The tensions between the administration in California and the federal government, read President Trump, escalated on Monday after the US president not only increased the number of National Guard personnel in LA, but also deployed 700 Marines. 2,000 more National Guards were called upon to join the earlier 2,000 who were deployed. Now, this is an extraordinary escalation, as neither the city mayor nor the state governor have requested for the deployment of these additional forces. On the contrary, both Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass have accused Trump of creating a crisis where there wasn't one. Condemning the violence that took place in downtown LA, the mayor said those who were responsible would be taken to task, but that still didn't warrant bringing in the military. Newsom said the National Guard, the additional deployment, not taking care of the personnel called in, all of this was only being done to stroke the dangerous president's ego. It wasn't about public safety.
Everything was fine in this city. Just think about that. We weren't having problems with protests. There were no problems with violence. The raids happened on Friday, and in response to especially the arrest of David Huerta, one of the most respected labor leaders that we have in the city, him being injured, going to a hospital.
Still in federal custody.
Yes, he's still in federal custody. If I understand it right, his arraignment is today. But all of that creates fear and tension in our city.
It's Trump's strategy to fight down protests against ICE raids taking place in LA, where suspected illegal immigrants are being targeted and detained, as Trump ups his efforts to deport illegal migrants. Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, has said the raids will go on, even widening its scope. It's the raids that first triggered the protests that were peaceful in parts but turned violent in some other parts of LA. Noem said the raids had led to the arrests of close to 2,000 illegals in a day, a figure that's way higher than the average of roughly 300 during Biden's time. Now, the state of California has sued the Trump administration, taking it to court for deploying the National Guard and the Marines in what it says is a violation of state sovereignty and federal laws.
What we do know is that what we saw yesterday happened after the president's unnecessary, counterproductive, and, most importantly, unlawful order.
Late on Monday, police started dispersing protesters who had gathered outside the detention center where migrants were being held. Rubber bullets, too, were used to clear the crowds. Then Trump even threatened to arrest the governor of California, Gavin Newsom.
The fact that he says, you want a civil war on the streets of America.
No, that's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. Civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I liked him. I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent.
Though Trump has called the protesters insurrectionists, he has not yet invoked the Insurrection Act. Normally, the National Guard or the Marines are called in only to help the state administration when it makes a request for their help and deployment. Can Trump, as Commander-in-Chief of all US forces, summon them? Well, that's a question that will be debated in the court case for sure. Military forces have been deployed in cities and towns in the past, but that has largely been limited to natural disasters like Hurricane Katrina or the September 11 attacks. The use of military for civil unrest or local protests is rare. The protests have seen dozens being arrested, including a key labor leader, David Huerta, who was later released on a bond of $50,000. Some blame the violence on the administration's high-handedness in dealing with Huerta. Downtown LA is now a no-protest zone, as assembling there has been declared unlawful by the police. Many feel that what Trump is doing was never about tackling law and order or quelling protests. What's happening in LA today could end up being a template for how Trump responds to law and order situations, especially when there's a Democratic governor in charge. For more such stories, subscribe to SNG News, hit the like button and follow for more news updates.